Before God lifts you, He will remove you. Not to hurt you, but to rebuild you. You'll lose friends, opportunities will vanish, the noise will fade, and suddenly it's just you and silence. No spotlight, no support, just obedience and pressure. But don't mistake isolation for abandonment. That's the place where elevation is born. Because God doesn't promote people who still depend on crowds. He promotes those who can stand alone and still stay faithful. See, when God has a calling over your life, He won't send you straight to the stage. He'll take you through the shadows, through the wilderness, through seasons where your name isn't mentioned, your presence isn't noticed, and your efforts seem unseen. And if you're not careful, you'll start thinking He forgot you. But He didn't. He hid you. There's a difference. He removed you so you'd remember what your soul sounds like without the world's applause. He shut doors not to punish you, but to prepare you for the ones that don't open with charm, only with character. Because let's be honest, some of us would have let the attention become our identity. Some of us would have let validation replace vision. So God had to step in and shut it all down. Not because you were unworthy, but because He's building something in you that requires depth, not just visibility. And here's the hard part. In that isolation, things feel confusing. You look around and think, why did they leave? Why did that fall apart? Why did it all go quiet when I was finally getting started? But that silence, that pause, that moment of stillness where nothing seems to move, that's the workshop of God. That's where your roots grow deeper. That's where your dependence shifts from people to purpose, from noise to discernment, from hustle to obedience. Because elevation is heavy. You can't carry what's coming if you're still leaning on what's comfortable. So He isolates you, not to strip you of your strength, but to refine it. He sets you apart. So when you return, you're anchored, not reactive. So when He gives you the platform, it doesn't destroy you. So when the light finds you, your foundation doesn't crack. If you feel like you're in a season where no one understands, where no one calls, where doors keep closing, don't rush to escape it. Don't beg to be seen. Sit in it, listen in it, learn in it. Because what God is doing in private will shake the world in public when the time is right. So the next time you find yourself in isolation, don't say, "Why me?" Say, "Thank you for trusting me with the silence." Because if He's pulled you back, it means He's getting ready to launch you further. Separation is not rejection, it's refinement. Let's break something wide open. When God separates you, He's not rejecting you, He's refining you. See, we're taught to believe that being alone means something's wrong, that silence is punishment, that distance is failure. But in God's kingdom, separation is strategy. When He has a calling over your life, He cannot afford to let you be distracted by comfort, surrounded by clutter, or tied to people who were never meant to carry your promise. So what does He do? He pulls you out, away from the crowd, away from the spotlight, away from the shallow approval of those who clapped, not for your purpose, but for their convenience. He places you in a season where the only voice you can hear is His. And at first, it feels like loss. You miss the attention. You miss the noise. You miss the rush of being seen, needed, wanted. But slowly, that loss becomes clarity. The quiet becomes your classroom, and the loneliness becomes sacred ground. Because God doesn't elevate the noisy. He elevates the anchored, and anchoring requires removal. You can't discover your true strength if your identity still leans on applause. You can't walk in destiny if your direction still depends on other people's approval. And God knows this, so He sends you to the wilderness, not to waste your time, but to redeem it. Because the wilderness is not empty. It's full of the things you missed while trying to keep up with everyone else. It's full of revelation, correction, redirection. It's where your habits get exposed, where your patience gets tested, where your trust becomes real. Not because everything's working, but because you keep walking even when nothing is moving. That's where leaders are forged. Not on stages, but in silence. Not in noise, but in stillness. Not with fans, but with faith. So if you're in a season where everything is quiet, where everyone seems to have moved on, where God feels distant, He's not gone. He's working. And the greatest proof of His plan is not the doors that open, but the doors He closes. He closes them because He knows what you don't, that some rooms are too small for what He's placed inside you, that some connections would dilute the oil He's anointed you with, that some opportunities are distractions dressed as progress. So He steps in, He pauses it all, and He whispers, "Now I can shape you." Because you can't be molded when you're constantly moving. You can't be developed when you're always distracted. You can't be transformed when you're addicted to being seen. So He isolates you, and in that isolation, He doesn't just prepare your blessing, He prepares you for the blessing. Faith isn't proven in the light, it's proven in the dark. Not the kind you post about, not the kind you sing about on Sunday. I'm talking about real faith, the kind that holds on when nothing makes sense. Because when God isolates you, He also invites you to trust Him blindly. No signs, no clear map, no booming voice telling you, "Turn left here, success is right around the corner." Just silence, stillness, and a choice to either panic or believe anyway. See, faith isn't built in easy seasons. It's built when your plans fall apart, when your timeline collapses, when your strength fails, and all you have left is a whisper. "God, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you." That's real faith. Faith is getting on your knees with no answers and still thanking Him. Faith is walking forward when everything in you wants to sit in confusion. Faith is not needing a sign to obey, but obeying because you know His character. Because He's never lied, He's never failed, He's never wasted a storm. So why would He start now? Some of you feel abandoned, but God hasn't left. He's just silent. And His silence isn't absence, it's attention. He's watching what you'll do in the wilderness. Will you fold? Will you go back to old habits? Or will you dig deeper into Him? Faith says, "I'm not guided by how I feel. I'm anchored in who I know." And if you know God, really know Him, then you know His delays are never denial. His pruning is never punishment. His silence is never rejection. It's a test, not of your potential, but of your posture. Can you worship when there's no breakthrough? Can you praise Him when the doors stay closed? Can you keep sowing when there's no harvest yet? Because hear me, elevation requires a tested faith. A faith that doesn't flinch when things don't go your way. A faith that says, even if I don't see it, I will serve. Even if He doesn't move how I hoped, I will stay. Even if the path is unclear, I will walk. God doesn't elevate people who only trust Him in victory. He elevates those who stay loyal in the valley. So if you're in that valley now, if you're walking through that silence, if you're crying in secret, wondering, "God, where are you?" He's right there, closer than your breath, watching you choose faith over feelings. Because once you can trust Him when He says nothing, He can trust you with everything. God isn't just preparing the promise, He's preparing you. Everyone wants elevation, but very few are willing to be rebuilt for it. Because here's the truth. God won't take you into the next season with the same mindset that broke you in the last one. So when He isolates you, He's not just taking things away. He's stripping off the layers that can't survive where you're going. The pride, the insecurity, the people-pleasing, the dependence on validation, the unhealthy habits you picked up just to cope with pressure. He starts pulling it all up by the roots, and it's painful, not because He's cruel, but because He's a surgeon, not a crowd pleaser. You asked for purpose? He said, "Good. First, let's clean out what's poisoning your purpose." You asked for favor? He said, "Great, but not with that pride still in your heart." You asked for breakthrough? He said, "I'll give it to you, but only after I break the version of you that keeps blocking your blessing, because the blessing would break you if you don't first become strong enough to carry it." Look, God isn't in the business of just giving you a platform. He's in the business of building your character to handle it. He doesn't want you to go viral. He wants you to go deep, to become someone who won't collapse the moment pressure shows up. So when he removes the noise, it's not punishment, it's purification. When he removes people, it's not rejection, it's protection. He's not just preparing the table, he's preparing the person who will sit at it. And that means you're going to face some painful mirrors. He'll show you your patterns, he'll challenge your excuses, he'll silence every distraction so you can finally hear the truth about what's holding you back. And in that silence, you'll want to run. You'll want to distract yourself. You'll want to call someone, post something, escape the discomfort. But God is saying, be still. I'm not done working on you yet. Because if he gave you the blessing before the transformation, it would destroy you. But if he does the deep work now, the hidden work, you'll rise not just with success, but with substance. So don't fight the isolation. Don't rush the process, because the version of you he's forming in secret is the one that will walk boldly in purpose, without the need for applause, without the fear of being alone, and without the baggage you used to carry like a badge. The silent season is holy ground. Don't rush what God is still writing. Let me speak to the weary soul, the one who's been waiting, doubting, wondering if all this isolation even means anything. You didn't imagine your calling. You didn't dream up your purpose. You're not losing your mind. You're being prepared in ways the world can't see. This season you're in, it's not a setback, it's a setup. The silence isn't empty, it's sacred, because God does his best work in secret. Before he brings you into the spotlight, he takes you through the shadows, not to hide you, but to build you. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And when the time is right, when the roots are deep, when your faith is stable, when your identity is no longer up for negotiation, you will rise. Not just rise, you will stand different. You will speak with a depth only pain can teach. You will move with authority that silence produced. You will lead, not from ego, but from experience. Because no one comes out of the wilderness the same. You walk in broken, but if you stay obedient, you walk out anointed. And that's what this season is about. It's not about who left you. It's not about what didn't happen. It's about who you're becoming. So stop despising the isolation. That's where heaven crafts its leaders. That's where strength is born in the crushing. That's where clarity rises from the ashes of confusion. You're not losing time, you're gaining substance. So breathe, stop comparing your journey, stop rushing the timing, stop begging for doors God had to close. Instead, lift your hands and say, God, even here, even now, I trust you. Even when I feel forgotten, even when I feel stuck, even when nothing makes sense, because you don't waste seasons, and you don't waste souls. And if you brought me to this valley, it must be the path to my mountain. You are being shaped in secret for something public, powerful, and permanent. And when you walk out of this season, you'll carry something that can't be copied, coached, or stolen. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing, because when God isolates you, it's never the end. It's the beginning of everything he's about to elevate you into. So there is our plan, and then there is God's plan. And let me tell you, his plan will always be bigger, deeper, better than anything you could ever script for yourself. You may not understand it. You may not see the full picture right now, but your faith matters. Your belief matters. Don't rush. Don't panic. Don't lose your peace trying to force what God is still forming. The silence you're walking through, it's not the end of your story. It's the part where the author is still writing. Believe in the one who designed this universe, who painted every sky, who gave breath to every living creature. He is the creator. He is the designer. He is the giver. And his plan is the master plan. So take a deep breath. Let go of fear and trust, not just in the outcome, but in the one who controls it all. Because when God isolates you, it's not to break you. It's to make you stronger than ever before. Believe, even when it's quiet, even when it's hard, even when nothing makes sense. Your season is coming. And when it does, you'll look back and say, that silence was sacred because God was working.